Hello and welcome to another body language video. Today we're going to be looking at Chris Brown, particularly when he's talking about his relationship with Rihanna. This isn't a Team Chris Brown, Team Rihanna video. I'm not on any particular side, but I will be looking at his body language. So I'm not saying that he's a bad person. He's in a vulnerable situation in this interview on the Larry King show, or whatever it's called. And he's faced to dig up some really difficult things in his past. So, I respect him for doing that with the kind of dignity that he did. So I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm just using this video for his body language. And we'll be looking at this point at three things that he uses in this video, his body language, which is very uncharacteristic for him from the stuff I've watched of him, which is he wrinkles his nose sometimes and sniffs, lip biting and lip licking. Which for different people they can use it different ways, but in this video he seems to be doing it to show humbleness, to show he's changed, to somehow make him feel small or sorry. And there's actually a couple of other instances in two other videos I'll show you where he does the same thing when he wants to portray this kind of humbled demeanour. Sincerely, of course. So I'll play the video and I'll point out some things on the way. It'll either be nose wrinkling, lip biting, or lip licking.
Chris Brown exclusive.
You remember doing it?
The singer talks for the only time on TV.
It's crazy.
About why he hit Rihanna.
There's chances where you lose your temper or like arguments get heated or whatever the case may be, but
why he pled guilty to felony assault.
yes.
About the infamous photo.
I didn't know if the pictures were altered, I didn't know if they were real, I didn't know what, so.
And his feelings for Rihanna today.
You love her?
Definitely.
In love with her?
It's Chris Brown exclusive. Right now, next on Larry King Live. Good evening. With us tonight on Larry King Live are Chris Brown, his mother Joyce Hawkins, and his attorney Mark Geragos. Chris entered a guilty plea on June 22nd, a deal that allowed him to avoid jail time. He pled guilty to felony assault after a widely publicized incident with his...
There we go. There was a very brief nose wrinkling sniff when his charges are read out, when he looks left, perhaps in avoidance.
girlfriend Rihanna. A second felony charge making criminal threats was dropped, and Chris was sentenced to 5 years probation, 6 months of community labor. We thank you all for coming. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
This had to be the worst period of your life.
Possibly, yeah.
Possibly. Are things calm for you now? Are you into it?
I think it's more relief now that everything is kind of all said and done as far as like what I have to do and what's going on. I think it's no more media frenzy for them to kind of blow out of proportion anymore.
So you're glad it's over?
Yeah.
What did you plead? Explain quickly, Mark, what he pled guilty to.
Assault, basically, was what it is, a felony assault charge.
So if you're looking here, when his charges are being read out, he tucks his head, he puts a very somber composture with his hands and his arms, and he's biting the top and the bottom of his lip when his charges are being described by his lawyer. The reason I say the top and the bottom is specifically that he uses a different kind of lip biting, where he just uses bites the bottom of his lip at 3:13. Obviously, I'm not going to point out every time he sniffs or bites his lip or licks his lips, because it's going to take a long time. But these are specific 1 or 2 examples.
Sentenced to 5 years of probation, as you said, 180 days of what Judge Schnegg calls community labor, and he has to undergo a domestic violence program for 1 year.
And 5 years means you got to be...
Means he walks
perfect.
Straight and narrow for 5 years. And as Judge Schnegg said in court yesterday, she's a tough taskmaster, but she's fair.
We're taping this a week before it airs, so it's airing on this night, but that was yesterday, meaning last Tuesday. And before we get into the meat of everything, Chris, how have you handled all this, Joyce?
It's probably the most painful time of my entire life. It's been hard, really hard, seeing him going through the pain and everything that he's gone through, dealing with the media and dealing with the situation. It's been really hard.
Especially all the pain you've had in your life.
Yes.
Which we'll get to later. The labor-oriented service, what does it mean you have to do, Chris? This is back in Virginia, right?
Yeah, back in Virginia.
What do you have to do?
I think they want me to do anything from picking up trash on the side of the street, washing cars, graffiti removal. I mean, anything. But it's the law, so I'm willing to do whatever they want me to do.
Is it fair?
If you notice, as soon as he was asked, is it fair, he licked his lips again. This is a very interesting one. If you've noticed, he's licked his lips a couple of times. But licking his lips here, it's difficult for a person who's been punished to be asked to admit whether they think that their punishment is fair. And I would be baffled at dealing with a question like that as well.
To me, possibly everything comes with consequences. So I feel like definitely it is. And I have no misjudgment on what the judge is giving me, so I'm willing to do anything asked.
So you feel it's fair?
Yeah.
Yeah. The judge was very specific. She wanted labor involved in the punishment.
Yes.
What did that mean to you when she said that? Hard work?
Hard work, yeah, definitely. And I'm a very hard worker, so that's kind of, I wouldn't say second nature, but it's definitely something that I'm willing to do. As far as the actual what I have to do, I felt personally that, as far as not saying as a celebrity, because I don't exclude myself and try to become like, oh, I'm a celebrity, so I shouldn't be punished. But I feel like with what I'm capable of doing as far as influencing people, influencing kids, the youth, I can do a lot more to help the community other than picking up trash. But I'm not saying picking up trash is something wrong. I'm willing to do it. But I'm just saying I know I can do a lot more, which I intend to do, aside from my community service.
The sentencing judge, as I understand it, has not lifted a protective order the court imposed on you in connection with Rihanna. That means you can't be with her?
No, I can't talk to her, can't communicate, nothing.
I think that's fair.
It's kind of hard, definitely, because being my friend for so long, and us being that close of a friend, is kind of like, wow, like not being able to see or talk to that person is kind of difficult. But it's also hard because we're both in the same industry. We go to the same events.
That you can do, right?
Yeah, I can go to the same events.
But you can't not go together.
Not at all. We had to be like 10 yards away from each other. But I just feel like it's harder because we're always in the same vicinity, and it leaves more, because we have the protection on it, it leaves more room for error. It leaves more room for people to start rumors, start more stuff like, oh, they're together, they're not supposed to be together. And it just kind of leaves more room for problems.
You have to be real careful, right?
Yeah, well, you're more than careful. I mean, there was a supposed incident in New York where the two of them, unbeknownst to each other, because they don't talk to each other, are rumored to be at the same hotel. So before we even verify it, I just tell them move. So, it's almost, I've kiddingly joked, we almost have to put GPS chips into the two of them to figure out where the other one is at all times.
How well do you know Rihanna, Joyce?
I've known
Give it 1 second, it should load.
Rihanna for 4 or 5 years, and
Like her?
like her, yes.
When the incident happened, how did it hit you?
Like I said, I was devastated. I was really upset about the situation.
If you just noticed, just then he licked his lips again. This one is very interesting because he's licking his lips through very tense lips, and he carries on biting his lips all the way until 5:56.
Really
Perhaps this is because his mother is speaking about how she's very upset. It would obviously cause him to be very upset, very stressed.
bad about this whole situation.
Are you shocked?
Very shocked. Very shocked.
We'll get in.
If you notice, there was another nose-wrinkling sniff from Chris Brown. And in the same instance, his mother gives him a kind of disapproving look. So to me, I mean, the sniff that he gave, he had quite a negative expression on his face. But it could be just a sniff. Maybe he has a cold that day. But there is an emotional story going on for me behind there, between the mother and the son, that starts and ends in an instant, but says a lot to me. 5:58, she gives him another look, which is very interesting.
Do all of it. During the sentencing, the judge said she was not.
Maybe looking to see, might again be surprised at the expression that she just saw on her son's face. Or am I wrong about his expression? Maybe I'm taking it too negatively, maybe not too lightly, but she's looking over in concern because she's shocked at what he did, but she still is his mother, who cares for his well-being and naturally doesn't want to see him unhappy.
Immune from the chatter on the airwaves about meetings between you and Rihanna.
Yeah.
And obviously it upset her, right?
Yes.
Do you understand that part?
Yes, I understand that totally. Of course, like the media, like not saying this media, but the media as far as like the immature media,
Immature.
The immature media. I feel like it's high school sometimes. How people just pride themselves on personal business, but like I feel like they spun a lot of the stuff out of control as far as with the judge, with a lot of things, because everybody reads the newspapers, everybody reads the blogs, everybody reads stuff like that. So it's easily influenced when there's something that's already stated like it happened.
But what happened happened.
Yes.
And you were involved in what happened, so
Yes.
you have to accept the consequences.
Yeah, the difference in this case, and I've been through a number of
If you just notice, there was another sniff at Chris Brown, this time to the lawyer rather than his mother.
cases where there was media attention. The difference in this case is the aftermath of the incident, where there was repeatedly just false stuff that would be printed. And major newspapers would put out things, they spent the weekend together here, or they spent the weekend together there, which was just false. They weren't even, at one point they said the two of them had spent the night together in one location. She wasn't even in the country.
Simply put, when was the last time you had contact with her?
It's been a couple months, because I think that's when the actual stay away order was in effect. So from there, we haven't had contact at all.
You love her?
Definitely.
In love with her?
Definitely.
Would you spend a lifetime with her?
Would I spend a lifetime? Well, I'm young. I'm 20, so...
No, well, let's say, could you conceive of that? Down the road.
Yes.
We'll be right back with Chris Brown, Joyce Hawkins, and...
Another lip flick. Just finished a really awkward question. I would be feeling really awkward at that as well. If whether he could conceive spending the rest of his life with her. And King doesn't respond, he just says, "We will be right back." We don't see King's facial expression, so we're not sure whether Brown is reacting to something there, but it's interesting to have a look at. Now we can move to a different video. Now I said at the beginning of the video that he usually uses this lip flicking thing, among other things, as a kind of way of showing humbleness, showing being very sorry, and quite a calm kind of side to him. And I believe here it is again.
So you finished that movie? Yeah, I finished that one, and it comes out I think January, top of this year, right?
I think we just missed
I'm getting
it.
it from Tina. What?
Give me 1 second.
Right. It's always something to be learned, but
So you finished that movie?
Yeah, I finished that one.
Yeah, so he just said, I'll just rewind to that. He says, "I'm always willing to learn." So that's a very humble statement, and even at the end of that statement, he licks his lips.
Definitely, I feel you. No, I don't know everything.
Right.
It's always something to be learned, but
So you finished that movie?
So there's always something to be learned. Compare that body language to 509 in this video. It's got very different body language. 509.
Make sure you bleep this out when I say it.
Please do.
It's Halloween. It's a pagan holiday. We dress our kids up as Satan, demons, little goblins, and all this other shit. Get over it, people. I was dressed as mother, and I'm saying mother. You can beep it out. I was dressed as the people we killed.
Okay, so I have no problem with his body language. Obviously, he's very confident. He's trying to make a point. Now, he does swear a lot. I have no problem with that. We all get annoyed sometimes. It's not a problem. But I just want to compare the body language here. Take a look again. I have no problem with the way he expresses himself. I have no interest in showing him in a bad light. In fact, some people might find him funny like this. But I'm just comparing the body language. Also, this is a good video to compare wardrobe. So in an interview with Larry King, he is dressed quite smartly. He's got a bow tie on. He's not wearing sober professional colours because he's not in a business meeting, but some people might see him as a style icon as well. So he's wearing a very light coloured jumper and a white shirt. So it's very light colours compared to the attire he's wearing in this video. His baseball cap and a dark hoodie. He's in a more comfortable clothing because this is a radio interview, but it's also a little bit more youngish, edgy hoodies. It can also come with a certain perception, though I wear hoodies all the time, and many of us wear them when we're having a lazy day or want to feel comfy. I would argue if he wore this outfit in the Larry King show, he would have given a different impression to his viewers than the smarter outfit that he's chosen, or that's been chosen for him. I think he would have looked more irresponsible and more young and more edgy if he wore the hoodie and the basketball cap. especially sitting next to his mother. But with this outfit, he looks more neat, together, formal. And then there's a last video I'd like to show you where you can compare what you just saw about the Halloween costume to now. Please say this is the right clip. Okay. If you look when he says at the end of the day, he licks his lips again, out of humbleness. And he's just explained that he's very confused, he's not an expert on dating, but it's a very touchy situation. So this is him again being very soft and humble.
It's nothing like that. It's just it's a touchy situation. It's difficult. At the end of the day, I'm comfortable with talking about it towards you
And I
guys
appreciate that.
because it's family. But
There we go. And that's Chris Brown for you. Well, a small part of him. Everybody's very complex. I hope you liked it.